So, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting our, I don't remember what number, blockchain brown bag session for blockchain professionals community. And today we are welcoming PUBLIQ Blockchain Company, who is going to introduce for us their solutions and their business concepts, and to take us in a journey to understand their solution architecture and some aspects of their network functioning. As I already started to say, that it's typical brown bag session, which means that you are free to ask questions and share the concerns. And please be active, please be curious. I need to say that we are recording all our sessions, and the session materials would be available for you soon after that session. And with this commentary, I'm passing the mic to the PUBLIQ guys. Gagik, Tigran, Aika, please start your session and feel yourself at home, and please respect the questions from the public.
Sasha, big thanks, and hello everyone. We are very happy to be here. My name is Gagik Yeghiazarian. I am one of the co-founders and member of the Council of PUBLIQ Foundation. With me is Tigran, Gaghramanyan, and Yeghiazarian, two lead architects of PUBLIQ, as well as our most technology solutions. And as I present our team, you will see that with a small team, I always have a belief that small teams can achieve major breakthroughs, technological especially. And I think this is one of the cases where we present such a breakthrough. Our cooperation with EPAM has started just in the beginning of the blockchain era, which has probably not more than about 4 years, of very famous history. I was fortunate to work with your European team, an Asian team, as well as CIS teams, and we hope this cooperation will continue. And Sasha, thank you very much for inviting us, and it's an honor to be here and to present our solutions. And Sasha said, you're most welcome to ask questions. I understand that we are bringing something unconventional, as the world now is very hyped with Ethereum, its solutions, Hyperledger, and others. Of course, Bitcoin, and many other major networks. So PUBLIQ is probably old and new in both senses. Old as we started building PUBLIQ just 4 years ago in the blockchain space, and PUBLIQ existed before that as a media project. And let me share the screen and move into the presentation so we can be on the same page. Interesting. Which one is my screen? Okay. Sorry, I'll start on this from the beginning.
Yes, we can see your browser and the Google presentation there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yes, we see the presentation in presentation mode.
And as Sasha said, it's nice also to have this non-formal, space where we can share ideas. So please welcome and participate in any way you like in the presentation. So our agenda is to cover today, Blockchain R&D Hub, which is the developer of PUBLIQ technology. It's our technology team, mostly. Large part of the team is located in Armenia. We'll present to you PUBLIQ peer-to-peer network, open network and protocol. built on native solutions, proof of stake, blockchain, distributed storage, and channel nodes, utility token, and native ads engine. These are the building blocks of the P2p network and ecosystem. I'll run into through some of the use cases and like Slot Media, post 2020 World, and Facilissimo. These are major projects. Focus Up, which is the photo sharing app, and Scholarian, which is academic publishing network built on PUBLIQ Protocol. And of course, I think one thing that is probably of interest to the business team and everyone, and some of you who are joining from outside of EPAM network, EPAM, private network and custom business logic solutions that could be built on PUBLIQ Protocol. And we also would like to share with you some of the developments that we are currently having. And we believe that these are prospective solutions that more or less, major projects are looking into this, major teams are looking into these directions. And we believe that, this will be the breakthrough, spaces that we are happy to share our view and our vision on this. So Blockchain R&D Hub is, as I said, is a developer of the PUBLIQ technology. It's a hub for research and development, and we have built award-winning, PUBLIQ Protocol, and it's we also work on many other directions. So, in sense, I think BRDH is probably a one-stop shop for solutions for blockchain and crypto space. This is our large team. So we are not only, in Armenia, we are present in several locations in, Europe, Spain, UK, Japan, in CIS, US, and so on. And technical team has a very strong background working in large number of, world-leading companies. So we bring together the experience that we have gained elsewhere, and since 4 years we have been working together in building something we say from scratch. So this is us, and we will be sharing the presentation with you, so you will be able to see our profiles as we go on. So please welcome PUBLIQ. Let's go. We'll be covering online media market, and why PUBLIQ was a solution that we are offering to the media ecosystem is because we believe that business of media business is broken, and not only media, but in particular media is broken in face of 95% of online content, which is provided for free. And as you know, the monetization of this content mostly was done and is done through advertising. Of course, subscription model is being currently, pushed, but we don't believe that it is going to be a major part of the market. So this is the 2019 figures of the market: $254 billion revenue in ad spend. And as you can see, there is a big, the entire world, we have the same distribution as with the wealth in the world. So out of these 254 billion, only 12 billion is distributed to almost 99% of the active participants of the online space, which are the sites, websites, and applications, and so on and so on, that are active out of 1.5 billion, I think, there in the web. So, and most of them earn less than $60 a year. So as you can imagine, this is probably mostly a hobby type, or to have a presence in the web rather than business endeavor for most of the active players on the web. And if we look into large players, about 2 million top sites and blogs, they earn not more than 60,000 per year on average. And this is also not sustainable. If we look into the the distribution of the ad spend revenue that is gained by the market. So, and here you see 10 platforms that are the space, and I would call them the internet now. And two of them, as you know, you all know who they are, share about 66% of this, large chunk of the revenue that is gained through advertising. So, why public? We realized early on that we need to have the full inclusiveness of the media, participants to be able to create the interest of participants in building the market, investing, and engaging. And without this, probably we will have what we have: over-centralized, space. And the first attempts to build public was to build a public company that would distribute the dividends to all participants who would be owners of public space. And this would be anyone who would create content. And based on merit, they would have a floating share at any given time. This share would be changing. And as a lawyer, I was looking into the world to locate this kind of company, a public company that could distribute its dividends on instant basis to participants, and couldn't find. There is no space in the world actually today. And the most important part was that this space would be trusted by participants, and these participants are coming from all over the world. Until the time when we came to the understanding of blockchain, this one word was able to solve the issue, and we moved into implementation. We early on understood that none of the existing blockchain ecosystems at that time, Ethereum was just coming into space, and Bitcoin was the main blockchain network. We reviewed most of the proof of concepts that existed there, and we run after people who were claiming that they have solutions in Singapore, US, you name it, anywhere. And we realized that probably you can't build a real life media ecosystem on the existing blockchain ecosystems. So we assembled a team, and we embarked on building our own original blockchain, which would encounter the understanding of content and distribution in the real world. And we come from the media, and I was publisher of Forbes in 2 countries. Our team has a license of many world-leading media brands in our part of the world. So we knew the media inside out, as well as we were in the advertising business for quite a long time, at one point representing like 95% of a major market in CIS. So the team had a pretty good understanding what we were building, as well as we have been working in technology for quite a long time, and the team that we assembled was probably the best to address this. And in 6 months, starting in 2016, we came up with the first marketplace solution. This was not built on Public. Public was not in existence yet. But we really understood that we need a native environment where we can offer the distributed storage capacity to store the content, very fast and efficient blockchain network, and so on, to be able to accomplish our needs. And of course, tradable utility token, truly utility token, was in need for these kind of environments. In 2019, we won an award by UK Parliament, which has all-party parliamentary group on blockchain and AI. We were part of Big Innovation Center of UK, which was looking into the future of the country and the world. And the competition was for all industries, and 2 companies were participating in each industry sections, and we were the only one chosen for media. So we were called the functional blockchain solution for media in 2019. And to give you the size of the participants, Bitfurry was another participant and winner in another category. So, as I said, over-centralization, in our understanding, hinders the investments and engagement in online media market. And we were able to build all the building blocks for fully automated P2p media. And public guarantees enables full inclusiveness, which we believe will motivate investment, create a much larger market. So I'm thinking about very open concept and public probably economy where everyone can participate. And we understand that it is over 200 million content providers all over the world that's at one point will be ready to go to public or go public. So I covered some of these aspects, full inclusiveness, and public also guarantees no intermediation or very proper intermediation in terms of channels who are distributing the content, but they are all the links in public are agnostic to each other. So authors are independent, that they have direct contact to their users, readers. The distributors do participate as independent distributors or content distributors and channels. There is no censorship, of course. No one can alter any content or anything. And the concept of full IP protection is fully materialized in public. I will run into this a bit later. So the concept of total ownership is very important. The moment anyone joins public and starts contributing, they have a wallet, they start earning reputation, and they start earning every 10 minutes sharp their revenue based on the total gained revenue of the network. So this is distributed 100% to all participants every 10 minutes. And as I mentioned, as a protocol level solution, it's like a Lego block for any type of business logic implementation. In the presentation, we will showcase a few of such opportunities. I mentioned media and academic publishing, and there are many others that could be built on public. So to illustrate very, I'm using YouTube as an example. So to lend us into the space where public really can enable something. So imagine that on the left side you have the true distribution of 2019 revenue, which was 15 billion first time announced by YouTube or by Google, and YouTube as a channel has taken 47% of this revenue, and this is 53% to its channels. So YouTube has about 31 million channels, and 8 billion was distributed to them. However, only 1% of those channels received any sizable monetary value. So out of 31 million, 1% of channels got any payments. And it's important to mention that YouTube is using like 5 channels for payment, and they pay once a month. And sometimes, if you go and check the comments, sometimes these payments are not coming through. And we know many cases where YouTube would just shut down a channel, which was really monetizing and earning a living for several thousand people, like singers and so on, represented by an aggregative, representative. We have one case in our team where you cannot go to court and fight anything and so on and so on. So most of the channels are demonetized, and these are the user-generated content creators, which were the soul of the YouTube. So at one point, centralized channel has decided that they are no use anymore, and the competition moves into, let's say, Netflix-type serials and so on and so on. So the facet has not changed of YouTube. However, the essence, what comes behind, has changed completely. So it is over-centralized in itself already. And so when you turn the model into a public model, we believe that the full inclusiveness concept brings 6, 7, 10 times more economic activity into space. And so we would be distributing, let's say, instead of $15 billion, $100 billion. In our case, 30 would go into to the distributor channel because we value the service that it is providing to the community. However, the 70 billion will be distributed to 31 million channels based on their participation. If you have only one view as a channel, you would get, based on that view, the revenue that should fairly be distributed to you as a channel. So, and this distribution is done automatically every 10 minutes. So this is the difference what Public can offer into the media space: full inclusiveness, fair revenue distribution, and what I'm saying is fully working now. So technology behind this, we have Tigran and Hai to cover this, but I will go very quickly. It's open network, and the core is C++, with some parts built using Python and Go, and channel nodes and client sites. Client side is built on PHP and TypeScript Angular. Of course, we have GitHub presence. You can get access to all open source documents and the development specs and so on and so on. And you are most welcome to review them. And we will be sharing the presentation. So, as I mentioned, the four original pillars for public protocol and network are the original proof of stake blockchain, and this is really proof of stake, and it's built on our architecture. I think Tigran will give more about it, how we built it. It's a high throughput. We call it proof of utility network because the utility is your stake in the network. However, other networks can use other stakes, and it is really proof of stake concept. So no environmental impact because it's a proof of stake, and you can run the node, on even your smartphone. Distributed storage. This is something that we are proud of, and it is not IPFS type. I think I would call it. Again, this is original, concept that takes into the latency and replication optimization and many other things that blockchain ecosystem and P2p network needs. For us, distributed storage acts not only the space where you store content, where the metadata of content is stored on blockchain, but the distributed storage acts as a very active participant in the network, as the gatekeeper and auditor of the pureness of the network and transactions. So together with the channel nodes, they check on the activity and keep away the bad actors from the network. And of course, distribution channel, important participants in public network, as we give a very major weight to this node. Together with blockchain and distributed storage, they form the native ecosystem of public. And the missing part here is utility token, which is important as a fueling part for our ecosystem. So, as I mentioned, protocol is very friendly to business, and so we have built it as a building block. And the metrics that we use are based on the views. So we are talking about media. So we use the views to count the participation of the free content providers on the network. And if we add value to the content or any asset, then we run into the marketplace. And public protocol is very suitable to build such spaces. And of course, any type of ecosystems where you have digital asset exchange or distribution could build on this protocol. We have our own smart contracts, and it helps us to go into agreement management, revenue collection, distribution, and everything is done automatically. No main interaction, of course, and user engagement is also part of the game. So please let me introduce some of the use cases that we have on public. So Slog Media, Slog is our first open channel where we invited everyone to participate. Now we have about 2,500 authors, 8 million views on this channel. No marketing is done for this channel. And every participant, as I said, gets their, let me show you my account. So I think it will be, easier to understand what we are talking about. So this is the channel, and I am one of the authors. So if I go to my, I have a wallet. I have 44,000 PBQs, which is every 10 minutes of, revenue that I am receiving. So I need to log in. Well, I'll show you. I think I have the wallet. So I can buy PBQs. This links me to the exchange. It's a tradable, as I mentioned, currency, and you can exchange it to crypto or any currency, euro in particular. So this is my personal space where I can also create publications. So anyone can create their publications, and it's a ready space for content creation and distribution. So if I need to build a new story, I go into a very simple, CMS story. I can add, any type of links, video, photo. I can include any type of, content from other places. And of course, the formula bar that comes from Scholarian, where you can build any type of scientific formula into the content. So let me go back to my presentation. I think I need to rush a little bit because we are running out of time. I'm taking too much time. So focus is I think another way to show how the business logic can be implemented is a very simple application. You have photos you can upload into Focus. And I would suggest that even now you can download the application from App Store or Google Store. And, it will take you like 2-3 minutes to build your presence there and place a photo and start earning. So all the views will contribute into your earnings. And as you see, this is my account. I have my wallet. These are my transactions. Every 10 minutes I receive some revenue from Public, and I can trace it through by Blockchain Explorer, and also my content can be traced through content. Very major concept, content as a service. There is this is I think more fundamental. Content in Public, any piece of content, any copy of it, and any part of the content receives a unique ID and becomes unique. So it's authentic and immutable. And because we are counting views, these parts of the content, whether used by you or anyone else in the network, brings you rewards based on the work that it carries for you in the network. So, and if earlier authors were afraid of their content being shared or copied and used elsewhere, monetized by the different others, now I think the authors are motivated for the use of the content, sharing, and so on and so on. So any content, you don't need to follow it. I don't need to cite because the technology takes that for you. So anything I use anywhere. So you saw the photos. These become the photo bank for every channel in the Public. I have covered this. Let us move. I think we can go into more question and answers. Yeah, let me go into private solutions. So as a protocol level solution, I think you can, as I mentioned, you can build any type of ecosystems, any kind of business logic on top of public protocol. So the metrics for your rewarding could be way different. Early on, we were using likes, dislikes, sharing into the formula of calculating the user, the author or content creator and channel reputation. And this was going into the formula of calculating the share or distribution. On a basic level now, not to make any bias for the blockchain and to run it smoothly, we use views. But the channels are free to use whatever metrics they like. And I personally don't believe into blockchain for private networks. However, when you have very large networks and many participants, especially independent participants, so trust is essential, then I think blockchain can play a major role. And when you have the engagement of the users and so on, larger networks, then I think this can be fundamental. And of course, utility token lets you fly, lets you create borderless, ecosystems where you are not bound into, country or any other specific cases. For us to move money from one country to another as content providers, it was a nightmare. So tax systems, bank accounts, all these, we're making it very, very hard to be mobile. So a model private network could be where the major like initiator could be the facilitator of the main channel, would be the facilitator of the network. Take any major company, let's say Forbes. Forbes has many licensees around the world, has many other projects and so on and so on. So these brands can become network participants, and each brand will have its own channel for content and advertising distribution. And this would be, in fact, a very small local networks that will replicate the global one. Both vertical and horizontal relationship are possible, so that other channels may engage both with the main channel and directly with each other. So you can imagine sharing content and distributing revenue, ads distribution, on the global level and on local level, where this is important for. And of course, I mentioned marketplace for free and paid content and accounting and many other issues that are essential for large networks could be implemented on public. Of course, it is possible to implement also the utility token that could be completely independent from the PBQ, which is public utility token. And also, you can build a stable coin into the equation and peg it to any utility, let's say US dollars, and then you have your network running. We used native advertising concept in public, and any advertiser himself becomes part of the network and can come with its own content, and earn with this content, as well as, the boosting of content is the main concept for advertising. And in public, anyone can boost content. So users can boost content once they become part of the network and have their wallets, and they can pay for it. So you can choose to boost the content for any period, and in any so you create your budget for boosting and so on and so on. This creates the advertising revenue. Along with advertising revenue, we also have distribution of the newly issued tokens, mining, and together these become the batch of every 10 minutes revenue that is generated by the ecosystem. Once the advertising or the boosting reaches its, audiences, excuse me. Sorry. Once the advertising is realized, then it becomes available for distribution. So the rest of the advertising budget remains on the escrow. Here also, we try to make sure that there is no bias, and we distribute whatever we earn as a community, and 100% is distributed. But the channels may decide what kind of distribution they can use for their networks. So. You can implement many types of concepts, like this is the sample invest in a star fund, where, let's say, if it is a sport network, then you can create a fund that would follow the success of the athlete and share the revenue. The same could be done with content. For example, you can invest, like the users or other authors may invest with the star author and boost their content and share the rewards or the results of the advertising campaign that would boost the revenue of that particular star. I mentioned that not only media but any other networks could be implemented on public. For example, energy supply chain could be built on public, and in this case, we change the appearance of the participants, but the essence remains the same. The channel becomes the distributor, physical, energy or different types of energy, and the distributed storage becomes the meter, which measures the energy that is supplied, and so on and so on. So by changing the names, you still have the essence, and you can utilize the network. Yeah. And of course, a marketplace could be created, as I mentioned. So because we are using free content on public, we don't have a marketplace. But in any other case, you can build the marketplace using. So I think I'll stop here. I understand that we have, the second part will be the technology part. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And let's move on to questions and answers.
Do you want to have any questions now, Thomas, here?
Yes.
Okay. No, I had a question about one of the, I think, earlier slides, the one in which you kind of compared the scenario with and without public. And you showed some interesting figures, and I was just wondering. You also gave some background information regarding what, say, YouTube, basically the modus operandi of YouTube, maybe shutting down channels that earn well. But did you contact YouTube, or were they interested? Because as of your figures, it shows a doubling of their earnings or return on investment as well. So I was just wondering, it could be a win-win situation.
Yes, we have been in discussions. Early on, we were viewing everyone as like we outsiders, and they are kind of the monopolies, and so on and so on. But we understand that this is a win-win game for everyone. Public is a space where you are creating alternative economy, and without this, it's like the current media is eating the space. They are not baking the space. So, and they are not using the energy of others who come to this space. So it is like a limited. Why YouTube is taking 47% of the revenue? Because that's not enough to maintain the ecosystem, to maintain the technology, and so on and so on. That's why they are milking. They have to, otherwise they will not stay on float. Why they are moving into different directions? Absolutely right. They would be very much interested, and we started, but we haven't moved into that part. When we were talking to Google, we were about to go to present in Google X, and the understanding was Google was not interested in blockchain, but I think in 2 months after that, we heard about Google making a major shift in similar solution with distributed storage, provider, where they were trying to off-balance the load during the peak times, and so on and so on, using this solution on blockchain. So I think the answer is yes. Major companies are also, as part of distributors, once public is in place, they would become really channels for distribution rather than the controllers or the the gatekeepers for everything.
Yeah.
And this will, yeah. Thank you for your question. This is a
No,
very
that's fine. So I was maybe it's also related to the next question. So or would they have, say, reasons for shutting these channels down? Because if they can earn double.
Yeah, well, that's I think it's administration. There is a lot to go with the current issues with regard to the distribution. What you can do, what you can't do, and also the competition. So they have to be able to compete with rising networks, which are the other sharers of the advertising revenue space, and as you know, others are not sharing revenue. TikTok is not sharing, Facebook is not sharing most part of its revenue, and so on and so on. So YouTube is the most generous part, and as you know, Google Ads is more or less using the same, like 30-70 when it is dealing with the major market, and but there also we have a discrepancy of the share of the distribution at 2% versus 98%. So public will be able to create a new public technology type technology with the full inclusiveness and trust. Will be able to create this space anew and alternative economy. So if we are talking about, I don't know, 250, it is like negligible figure. And if we talk about like scholarly and academic publishing, space, the figure is like 3 times bigger currently. And you can add so much more into it. And in scholarly, we have also, the investment part, you have the job market engaged, and so on and so on. This, asset-centered ecosystems where you have utility token as well, creates endless possibilities for inclusiveness, And I have to mention that you can share content, and everyone who creates content, co-authors, are also, fairly rewarded based on their contribution in this space. We already have implemented this, so it is working.
Great, thanks. Thanks for the
Other questions?
There is still one in the chat. It is about.
I haven't seen it. Let me see.
Can you see the chat? It's about there being any control on the type of content, or is it completely sensorless?
No. It is completely. When it comes to the channels have to sign for the content for it to be published. But we have one channel, which is Log Media, where we don't censor anything. So we don't change the world as it is. And at one point, we were called the solution for fake news. So as you know, this is a major issue everywhere now. And I believe public is a real solution for fake news because you create responsibility in a space which has no responsibility. Or World Wide Web is a Wild West, in my understanding, where you can do anything. You are not traced. It is like open space for everyone to use, and it is like littered by anyone who likes without being responsible. In public space, you create a trace that you cannot say it's not me, and you have the entire network of owners guarding this space. So I would say that Internet of Owners is the main concept where you can clean the space. Like in Japan, it's a cleanest country because everyone cleans the country. They own the country. So any type of content related, business, being a social media, Q&A site, just the news site, and so on and so on. Anything you can build on public, and this is like a WordPress plus monetization. So you have the your wallet, which has any type of currency, and you have tradability, so you can trade it back and forth, and also you have the distribution, so revenue distribution, and the channels can engage in their way of distribution. As a channel, I earn 30%, let's say, of the content part. Of course, we have also take into account the interest of the nodes. who have to maintain the network, as well as distributed storage provider. So you can become a node, you can be a channel, you can be an author. So there are endless possibilities to earn and to work in this space. And you are the owner of the space. So this is a win-win solution for anyone. And any type of content could be used. I think a bit later we will be presenting the video streaming solution that is coming to give a solution like not WordPress but YouTube type, solution could be. Messaging is another way that will be linking the B2B world or business world with the open source or open space public networks where you can have secure messaging. And I think this is what is happening in other networks as well. Ethereum and others are developing into this space. I would say that why it is important to have a native solution is the ability to be, very flexible in moving in this space as well as functional. So it gives you ability to be fast, secure. Security is a major concern as well, and also guarding the space. So you have many guardians. Instead of in the network where you have only nodes, you also have a channel. You also have the distributed storage. So all these are becoming part of the larger ecosystem where you can really create this system of trust. And coming to fake news, I think the other component is the motivation. Motivation, like carrot and stick. Carrot is the earnings. The more reputation you have, the earnings you can have. Early on, we were thinking of community governance, where you could introduce like the governance and the judgment. Even you could choose judges, and the users could be the judges to say, okay, this content is fake. And if enough users would say yes, then it would be to go to judges, and the judges of the community members, reputable, could decide to take away even the wallet. So this is like the channel implementations that we don't want to get, do ourselves, but it is open. You can create a channel now and start building your own business logic into media space or any other space with public.
Okay, thank you.
To open source contributors. Yeah, it is open source, of course. You're most welcome. And I believe we not only looking, but I think we need to have. And at one point, we are looking into the metrics that could be used to also remunerate the work of the contributors. I think many are trying to do, but because we have the distribution in place already, it will be much easier for us once we find the right metrics, like the line of codes, plus we add the quantitative plus qualitative, factor. Then we can have a model where we can distribute revenue to open source contributors. And public could be the first to offer this. And I think we should do this. Yeah, the one channel I wanted to present, we have a channel of 40 journalists from Latin American countries, Spanish, and they have joined to create a channel, and they decided to make it invite only. So there is the process that you can, be invited or ask to be invited, reference and so on and so on. So lots of it's endless possibilities to build these logics on the protocol. Other questions? We can move into others, and then you can ask questions. I think maybe we need more technology talk, then you will be more active. Okay, let me. Okay. So we will present, as I said, original network. I asked Haik, who is the CTO of ATAX Exchange, and also is the lead architect for our DAX, technology, as well as payment solutions. And Blockchain Explorer, Web Wallet, Mobile, I think we don't need to spend much time for it, but it speaks about the full package that we are able to provide, and also the ICO platform and so on. So yeah, maybe Tigran, I'll leave the space to you. You can present the solution for blockchain.
Thank you, Gagik. My name is Tigran. For those interested about technology used, I'd like to present the blocks, the ecosystem that we built dedicated to the needs of public distributed media. It is an all-in-one native solution implemented from scratch and the architecture contains no black boxes for us. We have the full confidence to customize and polish it for various business needs. So public open network is implemented on C++ technology. It's the core blockchain network, the peer-to-peer network, blockchain transactions, smart contracts, and stuff like that is done all in single executable. And which C++ version? I will try to answer it on the fly. So we based all the stuff on C++11. One of our choosing decision points was to be able to build all the stuff on ARM architecture also. So we have Linux, Windows, macOS, x86, x64 ARM architectures all supported. Then for web technologies integration, specifically for channel nodes, we used PHP for backend and TypeScript for frontend based on Angular framework. So the basic blocks of our architecture that we have implemented by ourselves goes like this, bottom to top. First is the peer-to-peer network, which is done on top of TCP protocol. It involves rendezvous server, message broadcasting, encrypted message relay features, and allows higher levels of architecture to operate. So what do you use for smart contracts? We use what we have implemented by ourselves. I mean, it is not Ethereum, not Bitcoin, it is public. So on top of peer-to-peer network, we have the blockchain implementation, the actual blockchain. We have developed a proof of stake type consensus algorithm, which we call proof of utility. This defines a chance for different miners to be able to propagate the new block through the network. The chance is proportional to the stake, but the process is randomized, which allows different miners to compete with each other. The miners with the majority of stake are the guarantees of other miners following the rules. Currently, we have targeted a 10 minutes interval for block generation and 1,000 transactions per block. This 10-minute interval for blocks does not necessarily mean exactly 10 minutes of latency for transactions. Transactions actually are acknowledged much quicker than that. This is just a trade-off necessary for a peer-to-peer network involving a big number of nodes operating globally, which need time for consensus establishment. We are working actually to increase the transaction bandwidth by about 10 times. Understandably, the scalability for more transactions is actually opposite to scalability for more nodes. So we are trying to keep the flexibility for choice on higher levels of architecture. As for the indexing of the data that is being involved in the blockchain network, we allow a seamless integration with a relational database for a fast indexing of any blockchain related data. we have a reference implementation with PHP and MySQL. On a bit more higher level, we have the channels. So Gagik has already told a lot about channels. These are distributors and publishers of content. These can be websites, mobile applications with their own business logic. So Gagik already told about examples. We also have the distributed storage, and we didn't use any external distributed storage. We built it right inside of the blockchain nodes. So we allow an HTTP storage functionality to be enabled right inside the blockchain node. So the distributed storage layer is tightly integrated with other layers. It provides a service much like a content delivery network, offloading the bandwidth requirements from channels. And this tight integration allows us counting the views, using the views as a source for smart contracts for reward distribution. Then we also have native advertisements, native by means of natively supporting on smart contract level. These allow boosting of content published on the platform across channels and add the advertisement budget to the global funds that reward public users participants. As for the rewards, we use the PBQ token. We define the emission with a certain schedule, which, as I just said, along with advertisement funds, is used to reward channels, distributed storage nodes, content creators, and miners. The distribution is happening almost real time with each mined block every 10 minutes. So these are the blocks around the core blockchain technology. We are also have works in progress regarding video and audio streaming, messaging. The video streaming, we imagine like a dedicated channel which acts as is doing a YouTube-like service, but which is able to define a custom type of content, specifically videos with different resolutions, transcoded for different needs, network bandwidths, and we again.
I think we will come to that. We have later we will come to the presentation of the video streaming and other solutions. Let's move into DAX, and I'll ask Haik to present the distributed exchange solution that we have, and why we built the distributed exchange solution as well. PUBLIQ itself, as a newcomer to this, let's say, crypto world, needed at least one space where it would be welcomed all the time, and we would be able to have the flexibility to link the conventional world with non-conventional or the distributed world that we have been creating. So, and from that, this technology was born, and we moved into implementing also a real solution. We run a licensed exchange in Estonia, and it's one of the few that has survived the later turmoil of cleaning up the space. About over 1,000 exchanges have been closed, and this is a solution that is really tested in the real life. So I leave the floor to Haik. Unfortunately, Haik cannot join with his web camera. He just arrived, and he's using location where he can talk to us. So thanks, Haik. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Haik, you are lost. I think, yes. No?
Can we hear? Right.
So while Hike is joining, it's a centralized, digital asset exchange solution that is supporting both crypto to crypto and fiat to crypto conversions. And it's blockchain DLT framework agnostic. Of course, it is.
Yeah, Hike is with us,
Yeah.
and while we will give him mic in a second, but guys, we are looking forward of inviting Public back to us to present the DEX separately and to get into like nitty-gritty details of the DEX implementation and its functionality. Thinking about the timelines like somewhere in April.
Yeah, many thanks, Sasha. We'll be more than happy, and we will do a larger presentation of the solution. And also, it's not the DAX only. We also have a trading, solution that is built on top of it. So hyper goods trading as well, and payment system. Hi, go ahead.
Yes. Hello. My name is Haik. We have built the ATX digital asset exchange from the scratch. It's centralized asset exchange, which has integration with more than 40 digital currencies. It has its own liquidity and its own integrations with all those blockchains, which gives us flexibility to onboard any coin that has a proper API for integration. Also, it's fully in-house built, and we can modify all the functionality that we have. It is written in Node.js and using MongoDB as a database for the user data storage and transaction storage. It supports WebSocket API for trading and data, market data. Also, it allows the REST API for more basic integration. Also on top of the ATX exchange, we have built another product. Since it allows us to integrate fully with it, we have built the ATX payment solution that is using the same currency integrations to allow users, our users or outside crypto users to accept payments and settle in the currency of their choosing. For example, any digital or any online shop that accepts, for example, euros or USD can use ATX Pay to also receive crypto, which will be settled on their account with the fiat currency automatically, and user will receive all the appropriate notifications about the transaction statuses. So the also ATX exchange has the as Gagik mentioned, European license, which allows us to work with credit cards and bank accounts, bank transactions that puts us into a very good spot in the market, but also requires to comply with the regulations, which is why we have also built the KYC platform on top of ATX, and we built it with the generic usage in mind, so it can satisfy multiple products or projects with the functionality of KYC. It's a separate platform. as I mentioned, we have our own liquidity since we have built ATX from scratch and it didn't have the user base, and we needed to give users some pricing to trade. We have the liquidity provider that brings the pricing of other bigger exchanges and does the proper market making in our exchange. So that quickly sums up the functionality. I would also like to mention that the cryptocurrency integration itself is done as a separate project. So any currency that we have integrated with, the integration actually maps the complex API of any specific currency to the API that is usable for making transactions. So for the ATX, all the cryptos have the same API, regardless of their actual implementation characteristics. But that part can be also used in many other applications, like building web wallets, building the same payment system, etc. So from technical perspective, I think yes, I think I covered all the modules that bring the exchange live. If you have any questions, I can answer, or we can have it on April. Thank you.
Thank you, Ike. Okay, let's as you know, as I said, we can, of course, in our portfolio we have all the other tools that is needed to run an ecosystem: web wallets, mobile wallets, applications like exchanges, mobile applications, and so on and so on. To my understanding, this creates endless possibilities to link the distributed ecosystem with the utility token to real life ecosystems and go back and forth. And effectiveness, efficiency, and so on, as well as security, is what can be achieved by bringing all these pieces together. So I would suggest that we skip this. I think these are already standards, and you can find it anywhere. This type of solutions, and as technology providers, we are happy. We work mostly with Japan, providing these solutions to the Japanese market, but also, of course, we are part of the European market, and as part of technology provider, we also work with other companies and channel partners. I would like to mention just to bring you one specific case with regard to PUBLIQ. Going back to the case of the channels that have been built on PUBLIQ. One specific case is just to give you the magnitude where it can move. We were working with a similar network, which was part of Kyoto Yahoo engagement in Japan. And they had like 800 publishers who were trying to replicate this same concept of distribution of advertising revenue and content distribution sharing without the blockchain. And my understanding is that it is very difficult to achieve a similar effect without giving ownership as well to the entire space. So one of the early comers of PUBLIQ ecosystem was ARD ZDF, which is the public broadcaster of Germany with 30% market share. And they built two channels, Tagesschau, which is the daily news of Germany, and Funk, which is the youth channel, mostly video channel, of course. And while they were trying to understand, how to position blockchain and to utilize blockchain, one suggestion was to, at that time, Funk was doing very active public, participating in public debates and supporting different view expressions through the channel by, different parties and so on and so on. And the concern was that some of the video interviews have been altered, modified by others to use in this, public campaigns, as always, you can see. And so to make sure that there is at least one original source that is not possible to alter, they went to create this channel, a Funk channel, and they put the transcripts of video into this channel. So the video itself was broadcasted, but the transcripts of the video interviews was put on, public network. And at one point they came back and said, we made a mistake. Can we change it? We said, no, you cannot change it. Any content created on the blockchain is unique. So to create another content, you are creating another unique content, but the user is able to see the previously created content because it's a public ledger, it's open. They were so happy. They said, now we can say to our constituencies that we have no control and we have no censorship over the content. So we cannot change anything. And this adds another, trust layer that an open ecosystem like PUBLIQ can bring to us. But CDCMO is a space for over 3,000 bloggers from Spain, and they claim to have 60 million followers. And this is another victim of the centralization, where they saw drastic cutting of their revenue when the Facebook and others changed their models. So in one day they were deprived of substantial part of the revenue that was fueling the life of these 3,000 plus bloggers into trying to find alternative solutions. Today we are working with Venezuelan project which is called Urigi, and they have 45,000 contributors who are doing very similar type of TikTok type, but more substance to the bloggers' presence, where they educate, they share the cooking, travel experiences, and so on and so on. So I would speak about Scholarian as well. As I mentioned, you can build any type of formula into the content. And the most important part, once you have your content, accepted to blockchain, it is immutable, and you can claim ownership. So immediately you have one space where you can say that this is my property. And if we take the academic content as a center, so any academician going or any scientist going into scientific conferences looking into different type of exchanges for job, for investment, for shared research, and so on and so on. And coming with this original content gives opportunity for the academician to present and find all this support network. And again, here the academician also will be able to earn as well as to share the rewards with co-authors. And this is implemented already in public. So I'm just showing one of the, I think this is Tigran, is your PhD, whatever, converted into public, CMS. So, okay, let's move into the second part of our presentation, and this is the future technologies, as I promised. As I call myself a good parrot that is repeating what our technology group. I'm not a technology guy, so I'm trying to learn as I go. But my understanding is, as I come from the business world, these solutions are very important. And early on, we were part of the, a major endeavor in the messaging world. I would say I run into this question over and over again. Distributed storage is a very important part of any ecosystem where, you can really have harness the potential of the entire web to be of service. And imagine a day when you don't need any more servers, when the entire web is your space. And so once you are linked, you don't need to use all the connectivity that is now altered or is not secured. Now you can go direct with your node-to-node communication. And I think this is about what we are going to talk about and make it more secure. I would say that, of course, security is subject to many things, but at least here we can achieve the highest level security for many things that is essential for security. So let's start with the Tigran, you started with video streaming. Maybe you can continue with video streaming, and then we can move into special channel, PCB storage, and of course the messaging.
Sure. So for video streaming, we already have some work done and some more work to do probably. What we have is ability to define videos in a way which will eventually allow us to imagine building a video editor right inside the inside this video streaming channel. And what I mean by defining a video editor is inventing, not really inventing, but defining a language which specifies how this video is created. I mean, which are the parts reused. For example, I can take a video of someone else and build my own video using that one, and this definition of my video will state explicitly that I have reused someone else's content, and this definition goes down to the blockchain level, which allows reward distribution to myself for my work and to the author of original videos, author of original video. So this is something that we are doing across all of our architecture, trying to integrate things around the core as tightly as possible. Also, we will have the ability to do live video streaming. So I'm not actually sure what to add according to videos. Maybe there could be some questions.
The understanding was that let's say take why we started looking into this. There were lots of questions with regard to the purity of the licensing space, where you can license and be able to control the use of the license, as well as subscription-based micropayments and so on and so on. So I think this is a major issue everywhere, and of course IP right protection. So in public, as I said, content is a service, and the IP rights within the network is fully protected. No matter how you move it, where you move it, the content, and who is using, the creator gets rewards based on his part, or fair rewards based on this part. And now introducing this into video means that now the video creators could be also rewarded in the same way. And also we bring the controllability of the usage. So I would not go into details how it is done, but architecture allows you to have a CDN type network where you can distribute the video no matter where, but be able to control the use of it back with the blockchain. So you have the accountability, and you have the ability to also collect and distribute the rewards based on the usage of the content. And I think when it goes to the video streaming, many things could be added to it in terms of, again, the viewership, user engagement and traceability, distribution of revenues, and so on and so on. So it's a very big part. I don't think it's we can cover it within the time that we have for this presentation. We wanted to bring you the understanding where we are heading and what we are thinking. I think this solution would allow the owners of the both video as well as the channel for streaming to fully control their rights and the stream of the revenue and be fairly rewarded for their work and for their asset distribution. So let's move into DS, storage as a service.
So the idea for storage as a service is that we have is again yet another type of specialized channel which is able to do all the special implement the business logic required for this type of operation. The main implementation is to accept the file of any given user and encrypt it and do the proper distribution across the network to the distributed storage nodes. So the business is any user is able to have a subscription or payment for uploading his own file and be able to download it and use it for any needs later.
Okay, yeah, P2p messaging.
Yes, P2p messaging is another interesting topic because we imagine we have a globally distributed network constantly exchanging with different types of messaging with each other, specifically related to blockchain, but we are not limited to using blockchain logic only, and we have the freedom to distribute any kind of messages, in particular any two nodes across the globe are able to communicate with each other even if not directly connected. So we have the broadcasting mechanism built into the peer-to-peer network, and this broadcasting allows us transferring any message from one node to another. And we are using this to do messaging securely, and securely I mean by using encryption, public key encryption, and by having the freedom of not being blocked because the network is distributed. There is no single route to be used for delivering the message. I think that's it.
Okay, thanks. And maybe a few words about the specialized channels. I think this is the higher level architectural issue that is there.
In general, the architecture that we have around the blockchain core, we see that there can be different channels such as Q&A website, blog, photo bank, scientific, entertainment, forum, governance. Each channel simply needs to implement its own business logic, and each channel is open to the whole public network. For example, there can be many different photo-related channels and can interoperate with each other redistribute content of one another and participate in shared earnings. So yes, we understand the main concept. The core concept is that we can calculate the metric. For one case, it can be a download of a file on in another case, it could be something else, but eventually we are calculating metrics across the whole networks from all the channels and all the distributed storage nodes, and use this metric for fair reward distribution.
Hi, do you have anything to add to what Tigran said? Maybe more high level, I recall our discussions about the future, where we are moving as a technology. Maybe you can add few things on top of what our Tigran said.
Yeah, so basically we imagine in bright future that if we have a stable working peer-to-peer messaging that can allow the reliable message transfer between two nodes, that can be a base of a new web, which is not centralized as it is now. Basically new internet where there is no centralized server, and the web pages and web services are basically nodes in this public infrastructure, allowing the database access, the file storage, and the content storage. And you can request the web through the messaging and receive it at this date on your browser without having to use the centralized server, and without the service provider even having a server in the first place. So that's the our goal that we are heading with messaging. And it seems doable, but there's lots of work to do for that to be usable.
Okay, looks like we kind of covered most of the topics that we wanted to cover, and I think the best would be to really go into answering your questions and engage into discussion. I think we are one of the few teams that has gone through all these endeavors, and we are happy that we really delivered our promise to our community, and we are trying to now make sure that PUBLIQ continues its journey into building its community and contributing to the distributed world. I truly believe into public economy as a major concept. I think I can share my view. Of course, if we take the economies themselves, we have the centralized economies, we have I call them corporate economies. And if you take the example of two economies like North and South Korea, the difference between these two in GDP, is about 50 times, 30 to 50 times, depending on the year. So my own formula to the next economy is the public economy, which will be times 100 or more of the corporate economy. And it has to do with the level of control is being exercised over the possibility of an economy unit, like an enterprise or individual, to really be able to make own decisions and engage in the economic activity. So the level, the more controlled, the less outcome for the public. The less controlled, I think, the more outcome for everyone. And the model could be maybe China. I don't know. We met in your team in Shenzhen, at one point, and I met David in Hong Kong. And when flying back from Hong Kong, I was flying over Shenzhen, looking down. It's like a new world. It's like you are not in this planet because of the spur of the public type economy, where the control level was leveled to the individual level of the entrepreneur, and they let them do whatever they want. One of my meetings was in Chengdu with the head of the Economic Development Bureau. And the main concern of this guy was that they are distributing every year like 500 to 500,000 new businesses. They are giving like free loans or free, grants, and they don't know what they are doing. So they were trying to use blockchain to control this process. But I would say that the effect of public economy is where you every 3 days have a billionaire born. So this is I think the potential that I'm talking about, and I'm not saying that out of nowhere that if you really create full inclusiveness, then you can achieve miracles. And having a technology that can really help you build networks that's where the participants can trust and fully own the network, that I think is the future. At least we see now with trust in crypto in the world, where from laughable, pizza buying experience, now a major force over $1 trillion is something to really consider. And I just heard Tesla buying $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. If it is true, I don't know, but yeah. So PUBLIQ itself is a similar network, and one difference between PUBLIQ and Ethereum and ETC is that the latter ones are speculative in nature when it comes to their real use. So it is currency rather than economy. And PUBLIQ has a backing of the economy and the value that is created by its contributors, and it has real GDP that is built on. So the PBQ is like any real currency where you really have all our work and everything going into building the value. So that's I think that's the to close it in a sense that we have at least one tool that is fully operational and working and is very forward-looking into the future today. So thank you.
Gagik, many thanks for a wonderful presentation. Guys, thank you for being here, and let's ask the public what questions do we have. Guys, questions, commentaries, concerns? Well, let's give people a moment to breathe. Thomas, I know you normally have questions, or you already asked all of them during the talk.
Yeah, well, I was actually expecting a lot of other questions indeed, so I already started asking them. So, but no specific questions right away. I was thinking when you mentioned the exchange capabilities. So I basically as a layperson, I was kind of struggling because I thought, okay, public, okay, we were talking about, say, content, a content network, basically a new way of dealing with content, and then now all of a sudden this exchange. But now, I was thinking about asking a question, but you answered it already. So it's not necessarily a disjunct, so it adds to the whole value proposition. So that's
yeah, we are moving into into more public type exchange that will be built into public. I think it needs that, and that would be not centralized but decentralized.
Yeah, that will be my question, because I checked it was ATX is centralized. DEX, of course, say under certain circumstances has the future. It's more complicated, but you want to kind of deliver up to that promise of having the middleman out if it's possible.
It is very complex when you think about public tech ecosystems in broader sense. It is very complex with all its concepts. The world is not ready yet for this type of environment. When I was thinking that blockchain has solved all the issues and now we can create public, I'm still struggling with landing it into any space in this world. So I'm not joking, but we were thinking of registering public in space. There is space chain, and there is other spaces. So public, to my understanding, is on itself is a new planet where you can. And we are in serious discussion with OECD and others, policymakers for example, taxation issue. So we distribute revenue every 10 minutes, and this is a major issue. Like, do I do withholding on every, and I don't have addresses. I only have an address of the person I'm distributing money. I don't know who is it. So there are so many questions in this space unanswered. So even we were coming to the point where we decided, okay, why don't we ask every country to create a wallet in public?
Yeah.
And we create a smart contract that, whoever opts gives like 1%, 2%, or 3%, I don't know, the community should decide, of the revenue that they are earning to the taxation to the country. So I can become a taxpayer in the US without US knowing that I'm not a citizen, but I'm paying tax because I don't know. Or you can be a UN taxpayer. I don't know. So
no, that's fair. I think I'm not sure which one it was. It was one of the popular DeFi platforms that they I think they used partners everywhere in all of the jurisdictions. They basically implemented these kind of regulations on the boundaries of their ecosystem. So you don't have to include it in your ecosystem. It just depends where your users land or where they actually coming from. But then okay, it is a bit of ignoring the whole issue, right? So as a platform, you say, I don't care. Please users identify yourself within your own or the applicable jurisdictions, and it's basically your issue. But yeah, it is a concern.
The public itself is a network. It doesn't have any legs anywhere.
No.
So it is in the space, but anyone who is using it can have its legs. So the channel should be responsible for its own action within your own jurisdiction. And I have been asked many questions, many times, who is going to be responsible? So if I create a channel, I don't know, in a space where there is certain regulation about content, then I have to follow this regulation. That's why we give channel a right to sign the content.
Yeah.
So, and we're like pioneers going into space, and this is really very, very challenging time for crypto, as you know. But more awareness it creates, and the more community it creates, I think it will become more acceptable. I don't think call it blockchain, not call it blockchain, but you need a space where technology can really create the trust ecosystem. And because you have this consensus building, and if you can secure that the consensus, I think we have really solved the issue of independence of the network. And we understand that no matter how big stake you have in the network, you cannot control it. The public you cannot control because it's randomized and in different way. The architecture is very simple, but I think it's working. And this 51%, of course, will not be part of it, and so on and so on. And again, Vitalik told that all the networks like PUBLIQ and others which are small, they are calling themselves open, but until a time when you have like millions of participants, you cannot call yourself open network and so on. So I think we have built a cell, and now we need the body. Yeah. And really, this can be also used by private networks. And where in early days, when I was going to like conferences, I think we met in insurance conference with the PAM team in Zurich, Zug or Zurich, I don't remember, Zurich, I think. And they were discussing the creation of R3 and I3 and so on. And it was at that time, it was like closed networks. And a year later in New York, in a banking conference, they were already discussing about private and public network, movements. So I don't think, and now Ethereum is clearly discussing, private and public. The public is being the guarantor with this consensus mechanism, the security and trust environment and so on for private networks. So I would say that public is built in a way that you can create all your ecosystems independent. So in Ethereum, you create a coin and it is linked to the Ethereum. So whatever happens with Ether, it will affect your ability. In public, you are totally agnostic to any other channels or any other, buildings in it, and any other coin or any other token in it. So I don't know. I think we are very idealistic in our approach.
No, that's fine because it's. Of course, there is this general concern that all of these new developments actually lead to just another set of parties becoming the new centralized parties. If you actually stick to your principles, that should get at least serve as a compass. So that should be your North Star. So I completely understand that. I have one other question. I asked it also in the chat regarding say what language for smart contracts do you use? So I don't have I have a technical background as developer, so maybe I missed some of the comments made or some of the answers given, but because I understood that it is there was being said it was one executable. And for me, you say smart contract is actually something I could create. So it's not. I wasn't expecting one executable, but that was maybe referring to the node itself. Could you give some details on that?
Just let me clarify. I guess that the confusion is that Ethereum defines Turing complete language allowing to define smart contracts. We do not do that. We have simpler smart contracts specifically crafted for content view calculation and reward distribution, which is built right inside our blockchain executable. So you do not define a custom smart contract to be used with public.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because there was also a mention, maybe Gagik. Do I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
You said okay. You can because I was going to ask okay, how does it work on your end with the proof of stake? Yeah, and there was a mention made of you can actually define it yourself. So how can I define my business case in a technical sense in that case?
No. You can define the distribution of the revenue once you could get it. So as a channel, you have certain tokens that you get, and you can decide further distribute it within in your logic. So you can define that not only views are counted with my authors, but also I can count this and that. So you build on top. So distribution is done by the views. Whereas the different metrics and different distribution schemes could be built. Why I'm saying this, because we are really building now different type of channels that are trying to utilize this. One type of engagement now is to engage users, or for example, create any subscribers can get their wallets, and their activity creates kind of points that are converted into PBQs. For example, and so on and so on. There are endless possibilities. As a channel, you can define what you want to do, the business case, and then we can really work into, or you can work into building the use of blockchain blocks into helping your distribution and helping your channel business logic implementation.
Because would that be something you could show us? Is that kind of some? Can that be shown kind of say from the code? How would that look like? Or is it some?
Explain, for example, the case with Forbes. how can it can be?
I'm sorry, I did not really got the point.
Okay. I think it is important. If I ask you to, before April, let's say, why don't you create an account in Focus, for example, and see how it works? It's the simplest. My wife likes Focus because it's the simplest application that can show public work.
Yeah.
The photo, you upload the photo, others view it, you get paid.
Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. No. That was my kind of my alternative. So that I was going to do that anyway. I usually do that with all these new ideas, and then if it sticks, I will stay, and if it doesn't, I will leave it. But okay, that's also fine. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. See, I think the problem with Public is everyone tries to see a new Facebook. With Public, we are not building Facebook. We are an environment for millions of Facebooks.
Yeah.
We are the kind of backbone of new web. Let's say we view ourselves like that. And in one of my presentations where we announced the start of PUBLIQ Protocol, we call it the new web, Internet of Owners. So I think what I have seen many attempts that I was in New York, and the 7th largest video streaming messaging application with a revenue in the video space, they were trying to create Public. Now, it's very interesting. I just arrived in their presentation where they were trying to convert the profit-making model into the appreciation model. They were trying to just give all their profits and move into appreciation. So have stake and get the valuation with the stake going up and so on. So tokens. And I asked, what network are you going to use? And said Ethereum. So I said, how you are going to do the distribution? And the answer was, okay, every day we are going to stop like in the end and recalculate. So I said, it's centralized. You cannot do that. It's like if you are able to control how you are going to distribute it, then who is going to trust you? And I haven't seen that network come into life. So that's why I'm saying it's a very interesting and challenging time where you, and to my understanding, Public is probably the one that really does the distribution and content distribution and revenue distribution and the level, as well as the content management, content as a service, really. AmiWeb, one of the authors of the Future of Technology. I was in ONA, which is Online News Association, one of the largest online media forums. And she was the last presenter. And she said in 20 years, we are going to have the content identification implemented. And I was just going to scream, it is done already. Why do you need to wait for 20 years? Yeah, we have done it. It is working. Just go and see. You have, imagine if I can show you how it works. I think it is, you can even see, can we show how the content ID works, content ID part? There is a lot that we can really go into more details to show you how it works. But public.network is the one space you can go. I think we have done pretty much good work to really lay down what is public, how it works, to give you the ability to create the channel, to create distributed storage. So why don't you create a distributed storage? I think it will give you the experience. San Jose State University has a node, so they are they build a channel on a node, blockchain node, and this can give you experience of the open space that we have created. So I think you can also not only create content and earn and so, but also you can build a node and distributed storage node and so on, and see how it works. So and everything is open. So it's really open environment.
I will have a look.
You're most welcome. Public.network. So I think I will type it here. That's one space where you can see the showcases, and also you can have the documentation. and GitHub links is here. You know, you can have a short description, the guides, how to do it. I was showing while Tigran was talking parts of it, but I think you know, this is. And Slog Media, it's interesting. I think it has come to the point where it really can become a space for, let's say, millions of bloggers. They can create free of charge their own space, their publications, and start monetizing and so on. So it can be. I know one lady, 51 years old, from Spain, that was taking 150 euros per week home by being contributor to Public. So this was like something very plausible for us, that people are really earning and working. Of course, we had to deliver our promise, and we opened a PBQ, made it tradable, knowing that the value will go down because you don't have the community to really support it as the Ethereum and, you know, others. But we were not afraid of it. We know that the time will come, and with, you know, up to 100,000 active participants, I think the PBQ will become really stable and start growing naturally. So there is no market making and so on. And although we have the exchange, we are not doing any market making. It is just to gain the experience and understanding and better knowledge of the space. And it helped us a lot to really understand how to deal with, you know, with, you need to give people user-friendly environment, not just give them the concept. So by having a place where they can really create content, you need to give them ability and wallet to use this wallet, you know, to exchange and so on and so on. So that's why another answer why we needed this experience as well.
Guys, I'm really sorry. Looking to the time, we do have a comment in the chat, and it's coming from Jimmy, and speaks about the storage. Jimmy, are you still with us? Can you phrase your question so we understand the or comment well? And that would be probably the last one for today.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, yeah, from, you know, we know that blockchain is, yeah, has to be decentralized to feel like we develop this technology. And yeah, I just wanted to know the way PUBLIQ have been implemented. Is it like, because I saw that in one of the slides you offering, I think, storage as a service. Yeah. So is it like, I don't know, Amazon, one of those big provider, or do you create your own storage, or is it like, I don't know, the producer will just connect to the blockchain and bring his storage?
You know that, of course, you know torrent.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
So public is in simplified way, is a torrent with payments. So everyone who provides or becomes part of the storage provider and seeds content is paid for the service. In our case, this has to do with latency. This has to do with security and also added functionality to the storage nodes. So anyone who wants to be a storage provider can link into the network and become a storage provider. So that's why I said, you know, you don't need, with public fully in operation, distributed storage fully in operation, you don't need Amazon and other type of, you know, centralized service providers as for storage. The entire web becomes your storage.
Okay, so meaning you mean as long as I have an IP address and I'm connected, connect with my service into the blockchain with within PUBLIQ, I become a node, of course, at some point. But
maybe you can answer technically.
Yes.
If you could
yes,
describe it a bit.
As long as you have an IP address, you have the option to start a node, specify it as a storage node, and it will act as one. It will follow the operating channels, listen what different channels have created, listen to what users of various channels have created and ask for this content to store on its own storage and publish on blockchain that it owns this and these files. Later is being ready to serve those. By doing so, channels later will offload the file serving job to your node. Sometimes, I mean, this work is distributed across several other storage nodes.
Yes, because of course, if my server is down, or I don't know, something goes bad with my provider, internet provider, so for sure it should be a backup somewhere, you know. So yes. Yeah. Okay.
You can see there is on the public network. You can go into the storage part, and we have a guide how to become a storage node. And this is the step-by-step guide, and with links that you need to have. And GitHub also gives you the complete guidance, how to create one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
You're most welcome.
So guys, with the 3 minutes left, let us share the appreciation for your presentation and for the very comprehensive answers to the questions. We are 100% sure that, guys, we're willing to take you more on our brown bag sessions, especially with the DAX and with the associated functionality, because we're being approached, and this is an interesting topic to discuss, and all of us are meeting those questions on a daily basis, I would say weekly for somebody. So thank you very much. We will share the content, like the recorded content. It would be published on our Community Z site, and it would be also uploaded to the YouTube channel. And the presentation would be sent for the participants. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Sasha. Thanks everyone for participating. It was a great discussion. Thanks for all your answers, questions. And, good luck and stay safe.
Same for you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.